definitely hang it up now, folks.
Syracuse had 9 first downs total in this game. They were 1-11 on third down and had 160 yards game. Dino Babers basically after the game was like, "Yeah, we're just gonna have to start over. We gotta figure something out because the points aren't coming in." Syracuse's season has fallen off the deep end now, so it's unfortunate, but Syracuse coming back down to earth post Clemson here. Vols curb stomp. Mizzou.
Before you move
Yeah.
on, I'm going to you know that meme where it's like someone's like, "Oh, you know, the Falcons used to be a good NFL team or something." It's like, "Oh, sure they were, Grandpa," you know, and then they kind of walk them along. That's what we're going to remember this Syracuse season. Like, we were beating Clemson in the fourth quarter of a game. Yeah, okay, sure you are. Let's get you to bed. Like, Syracuse has just been a completely different team since that second half meltdown against Clemson. Like, I don't know what happened to them, but yeah, they got to start from scratch. That's for sure.
That's a good analogy. Vols curb stomp. Mizzou. There was a lot after the game about the last touchdown bomb from Joe Milton to Squirrel White late in this one to give him 66. Tennessee broke the school record for single game yardage. They go for over 700 in this one on the Mizzou Tigers. 38 straight run, 38-0 run for the Vols in the second half in this one. Dylan Sampson, who has just been out of it since the LSU game, not because he's hurt, he just hasn't played. And he just looks like he's going to be an absolute dynamo next year. And the combination between him and Wright, Jabari Small is fine. He's great in pass protection. That's his main thing, but he just doesn't have that burst. Dylan Sampson's fast as hell, man. And he's shifty, and he's just got another level to him. Jalen Hyatt gets back on track for this one. No Cedric Tillman, which didn't matter at all. Jalen Hyatt was awesome. Brew McCoy showing out. This was a big Brew McCoy game, which was important. Jeremiah Crawford got benched in this one, so monitor that. The left tackle spot's just not great for Hendon Hooker's blind side. So Gerald Mincy moves back into that spot. We'll see if that's the case at South Carolina this weekend. But the subs go in, and Tennessee still can't be stopped. I've said on this podcast all year long that the Tennessee Volunteers, the new Spurrier Florida Gators of the 90s, and that there's so many crossovers between the two, and people hated those Spurrier Gators. And if you remember, he ran up the score on the Georgia Bulldogs in the 90s. Do you remember that, where he had the touchdown pass to put him up 55? Did that give him 55? You know what game I'm talking about?
I personally don't remember it,
but you remember the game I'm talking about.
When they went between the hedges, yeah,
yes.
They scored 50.
And look, his thing was simple, and I agree with the sentiment. If you do this to Tennessee, I feel the exact same way. It's on record. I feel the exact same way. We're in a conference game. Like, we are in a conference. You play in the same conference as we do. You're an SEC team. We pulled our starters. What do you want us to do? It's like, if you want Milton to get an important rep, guess what Tennessee does all the time? Bombs. Like, you need to learn. We have to see what Milton, he's been overshooting. Like, he overshot those 1 billion times last year. We want to see where he's at in an in-game moment. Like, is it a better ball? And it's a better ball. Like, I'm not saying Joe Milton Heisman 2023, but I'm also not saying that I don't think people are ready for the Spurrier part of this for the Vols, because you're going from Hendon Hooker to Joe Milton to Nico Maliava and then Jaden Davis right after that 2024 kid. Like, it's just the Rolodex for these Tennessee offenses are just, I mean, look out. This isn't going anywhere. It's mean. It's aggressive. It's brutal. It's amazing that Jalen Hyatt still finds places to be completely wide open. And that happened multiple times in this game. Like, Josh Heupel is on another level, and I don't feel bad about it. And the Georgia fans are the worst about this, because look, the holding their nose of just like, oh, classless. The amount of stuff I saw after this game where it was like just all class. We had, look, friend of the pod, he's been on this show. He's been getting destroyed by Tennessee fans. I don't agree with this. Don't go after people personally. If they have a different take than you, just don't. It's bad. Don't do that. That being said, Chris Felica of the Bear, as you know, he tweeted, he's like, oh, I wonder what coaches in the committee thinks about Tennessee rubbing it in there. And it's like, you're not holding out Tennessee. You're like, oh, we're going to teach them a lesson by keeping Tennessee out of the playoff over USC because they scored that extra touchdown late against Mizzou. What do you mean they think about it? Like, what does that even, I don't understand that.
Well, I think that perspective is saying, like, are these for style points? Are you saying like, oh, You beating Missouri by 35 points, that's a good win. But beating them by 42 points, okay, now this is like a legit Tennessee win. I think that's what it's kind of sarcastic. Like,
but we need.
This isn't gonna change the. This didn't change the perception of this game that just happened.
I would understand more if it was the starters. I really would. If it was the starters and Hendon Hooker still throwing bombs to Jalen in that moment, I'm probably gonna give them a little bit more. Like, all right, that was probably a little much. What are you supposed to do? Like, I mean,
you understand throwing 60-yard bombs up 35
70,
points.
sir. That was that was a
there
beaut.
You go.
That was
That's
a
just
beaut.
not. I mean,
70 air yards for senior day. The last stuff we'll see at Neyland for the rest of the year. Like, I don't want to see the end of Neyland for this year. Like, it's gone until next August. Like, I didn't want to see
Smokey the last home game, right?
It's whose?
Smokey 10. This was his final home game of his career.
No, I didn't have a problem with it, and it's just the faux outrage over that is just a little nauseating for me.
But I feel like you're talking out of both sides of your mouth here, though. It is bad sportsmanship.
No, it's not.
It is right. Hold on. No, can I finish? It is bad sportsmanship, but you're saying you're embracing it. We're going to be Spurrier of the Florida of the 90s. If you're going to be that, they were the villain, right? Like they were the ones that threw touchdowns up 60, 70-0. Like that's who they were. I mean, we've seen Tennessee athletics. That's what they want to be, right? That's what Tennessee baseball is. They're the villain of college baseball. So if Heupel wants to be this villain, then yeah, but that is what you can't act like it wasn't poor sportsmanship to be throwing 70-yard bombs up 35 points with like 2 minutes left in the game. Like, what does that prove?
It's again part of our offense and not our starters. Like, it's literally an SEC game. You do not get to do, like, if it was Kent State, I get it. Tennessee Tech, I get it. Like, that's just rude. Mizzou, you are a SEC team. It's not our fault that you cannot stop this offense. Like,
but it wasn't. But that's where I disagree. It's not just running your offense. Like that's
part of our offense. What do you mean? We have the most 40-yard plays in college football this year.
They also run the ball a lot. It's like that's part of your offense. So when you're up that big, you can just run the ball. This was personal for Josh Heupel and Eli Drinkowitz and whatever the opinion was about each other. There was clearly
let's just throw this out there. This is context. This is the context. 4 months ago, Drinkwitz went on Jim Rome and he said, quote, "I thought you were going to introduce my record," Drinkwitz said, "but with the latest allegations against Tennessee, let's hold up on what my record is because I expect them to vacate some wins and that's going to help my record a bit." And then this week coming in that they had a blueprint for stopping Tennessee's offense. Like when you say this stuff out loud, these folks take notice. Like they remember the Jimbo, Nick Saban stuff. They all remember what's said out loud. Like these it's bulletin board material. If you're going to talk, like when Will Levis is saying, what I don't even remember now. It's just the season where what did he say? A real offense, a real defense or something. I think he said real offense. Like Tennessee's not a real offense. All right, guess what? We're gonna drop 44 and just blow you out. These comments, I guarantee you, rubbed a lot of people at Tennessee the wrong way. What Drinkwitz said this summer, and I'm sure that's part of it. Is like, I'm going to get some wins back because Tennessee's going to get some wins vacated this year, and that's what you're jumping at. Like, you're going to get some wins back against Tennessee because they're going to lose some wins. That you didn't win the game, sir. You still lost, even if it doesn't go in the record book. Like, you still got absolutely obliterated at home last year. That's such a weird thing to promote. That and just start a feud with Heupel. And I saw Heupel did not.
Drinkowitz is, I feel like, has eaten it a couple times, trying to kind of talk shit, kind of throw shade here and there. We had Boston College last year, now Tennessee. Also, Heupel wasn't even there when Pruitt, when all the allegations and stuff happened. So, maybe he could take that personal if he wanted, but it's also kind of commenting on the previous administration. But I don't know. You would definitely feel like a certain kind of way about someone throwing 70-yard touchdowns with 35 or 70-yard bombs with 35 point lead in the fourth quarter. It's who Tennessee is. They want to be the villain. They want to be this guy. They had to get their points per game back up after that performance against Georgia. They had to get back up to 50 or so. So, they want to do what they want to do. But I mean, it feels like kicking a man while he's down, just being the bully on the playground. If that's what Tennessee wants to do, they can do that.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We'll end on two non-bullies in the playground. Vanderbilt beating Kentucky and ending their SEC losing streak. Just rock bottom for the Kentucky Wildcats. Mark Stoops is not leaving Kentucky anytime soon. I think this season probably reset that clock of if Mark Stoops gets a better job. Man, what a loss. What do you make of Kentucky going down at home to Vanderbilt?
Man, this was just, like I said to you earlier, like sarcastically, like Will Levis. Can we just stop the Will Levis hype train now? Like Mel Kiper has made all of college football world like hate Will Levis. And it's not his fault that someone said he was a first round pick or even a top 5 pick or whatever it was. Like Kentucky's just not. I mean, they even